Hello everyone, my name is Nick and welcome if you are new. I'm going to lead off today by saying I'm going to be talking a little bit more softer in this video than I normally do. I'm getting over a bit of a sickness in my jugular and nasal area, so I'm just going to be taking it a little bit more easy on my vocal cords. So this video is going to be a little bit more ASMR since I have my crappy little lapel mic here to help me out today, so I hope the sound quality is okay. But moving on, I am going to be talking about my plant acquisitions that I've gotten over the last few weeks. I think I uploaded a plant haul video like 2 weeks ago, so I hope you guys don't mind me doing another one. But I've gotten quite a few rare and uncommon plants over the last few weeks, so I just really wanted to share with you guys. I've been like holding off sharing most of them on Instagram because I think they're just so interesting and I just didn't want to spoil it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. The first plant for this haul is going to be this gorgeous Monstera deliciosa albo variegata, I think it is. I could be wrong. My plant friend Alicia, who comes in the shop, traded this to me, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. It was a cutting that she had rooting, and it's freaking gorgeous. Like, look at this. It's just like camouflage with white. It's stunning. I'm really excited to watch this grow. I have it growing under my grow light right now, and it's still acclimating. She gave it to me with plenty of water roots. It was very well established in the water, but I decided to plant it in this terracotta pot with a bunch of perlite and charcoal to kind of, you know, give it a bunch of aeration because this plant was growing in water. Water roots are different than soil roots, so I just wanted this plant to acclimate well, especially since it is such a gorgeous plant and a really hard one to come by. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. It was a really wonderful trade. Thank you so much, Alicia, if you're watching. I'm so excited to watch this grow, and I'm hoping within this summer I'm seeing some leaves with some fenestrations, so that would be absolutely wonderful. So yes, plant number one, variegated Monstera. This next plant is quite a doozy. It is a ZZ raven, or a Zamioculcas zammiafolia raven. It's a black ZZ plant. ZZ plants are like one of the most amazing plants in existence because you don't need to water them very often at all, and they don't need a lot of light. So I usually tell people at the shop that I work at when they're buying a ZZ plant that if you water this plant more than you pay your rent, it is too much. I typically water my ZZ plants probably every like 2 months, maybe every 3 months. It really depends how close to the window or how far from the window they are, how big of a pot they're in, what the pot's made of. Like terracotta, you're going to be watering more often than something that's ceramic or plastic. So there's a bunch of different factors. I usually keep an eye out for when my ZZ plants like start to wrinkle around the base, and then usually that means that it's definitely time to water, if not overdue for watering. But this black ZZ plant is a very sought after one, I believe, on Instagram, and so it's just been like really hard to find and been very expensive. But my plant friend, a girl with a garden here on YouTube and Instagram, actually found them in a grocery store and reached out to me and was like, do you want one? And I was like, hell yeah, I want one. So she sent me this, and it's freaking gorgeous and it's huge. So you guys should definitely check her out on YouTube and Instagram if you haven't already. A girl with a garden, one word, no spaces, no underscores. A really awesome plant. I haven't even watered it yet. I potted it in here, and I'm gonna probably wait like, she sent it to me bare root, and I'm probably gonna wait like another week or two before I consider watering it because one of the plants already kind of like rotted out, but like I was expecting like 1 or 2 plants of a ZZ plant to like rot out after potting it, so I'm thrilled that only one did. So yeah, I'm super excited about this plant. It's gonna be so fun to watch grow, and the black leaves are freaking killer. I've never seen it in person until she sent me this one, so yeah, I'm really happy about this. The next plant is a Monstera Spa Peru, or I think you're probably gonna see this labeled as a Monstera Carstenianum on Instagram or wherever you are seeing this to purchase it. But it is actually not a like classified plant, I believe, in botany. So it is a Monstera Spa, SP, and it's Peru in parentheses because it's from Peru, or that's where it was found. So yes, a really interesting plant with a fun little backstory. I already have one of these that I got in recently. It's been a very hard plant to find in the United States, and it's just recently started to pop up. I believe some of you have found these across the country. But here in Philadelphia, I got these at my shop, Urban Jungle, and I was like absolutely amazed when I was able to get them. I've been growing both of these underneath my 2 Modern Spout grow bars that I have because my first one that I got's been absolutely loving life under it, so I figured why not just replicate those exact conditions that one's under for this one. So I already have this one put off 2 leaves on each of the stems. Well, 1 leaf, and then they all have like a new leaf coming in, so it hasn't grown that fast. I've only had it for like a week and a half, but it's just absolutely amazing, and I'm super excited to watch it grow, and I'm definitely gonna have to cut it back really soon because it's already reaching the grow bar right behind me. So I'm probably gonna have to start cutting it back and propagating it, maybe for Etsy if you guys are interested. But yes, I'm super excited to watch this one continue to grow, and I'll probably have to extend this moss pole and find a new spot for it soon because it's already pretty much outgrown its space. This next plant is rather large. It is a Philodendron Burle Marx, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love philodendrons. I love aroids. I'm a huge aroid person. So are many people on Instagram. There's the whole hashtag aroid addicts. We all love them. If you aren't familiar with aroids, it's a subfamily of plants that includes philodendrons, epipremnums, which are pothos, scindapsus, which is also pothos, thaumatophyllums, monsteras, skingoniums. There are so many types of aroids, but they're just such a wonderful houseplant, and they're a rather hot commodity in the houseplant world right now. And I've been wanting this Philodendron Burle Marx for quite a while, but I'd never really seen them in shops, or I'd never seen them on my availability. And I fell in love with it when I saw it in person in Florida when I went for TPIE. Me and my coworkers and my boss went to Miami, and when we were there, they were just growing up the trees. And then we went to a plant nursery, and they had them at the nurseries sold as landscape plants. So I actually like texted a photo to one of the people I buy plants from, and I was like, "Can you get me this?" And they were like, "Yeah." And so my theory is kind of that you don't really see this plant very often in plant shops because it's sold more so as a landscape plant down in the south. So if you're looking for this plant, I highly recommend like mentioning it to the people who work at the plant shops around you where you get your plants, because they can probably get this in a rather large size, because I've been seeing them sold as like small plants from people probably propagating them, which I mean, like, that's totally fine, but like they're probably going to cost a lot more if someone's selling a plant that they're propagating, because, you know, they put a lot of time into it when you could probably get this sold from someone commercially. Basically, yeah, I just don't want you guys to waste money on a plant that really isn't that expensive. So a really, really wonderful plant, Philodendron Burle Marx. And it's just, I'm just realizing that it's such like a common plant that really isn't sold that often. So yeah, a really, really cool plant. And I've been giving it a lot of light. I've been having it pulled back probably like 6 feet from my south-facing window. And as I do with most of my philodendrons and other aroids, I let them dry out roughly 50% before I water them. And I give most of the more finicky aroids, this one really isn't that finicky, but the ones that are more finicky, I give them quite a bit of humidity. This next plant is just like, this plant, I don't normally play favorites. You guys know, I know you guys know I have a lot of plants, and I love them all. Like, I really, really do. They all mean so much to me. I pay so much attention to all of them. There's not one plant where I'm like, like, I don't like it. I could give it away. I could sell it. And I'm always like, oh my God, when I see people on Instagram selling plants. I mean, like, you do you. You can feel however you feel about it, but I just like have such an emotional connection with like all of my plants that, yeah, what I'm trying to say is I don't play favorites, but this plant right here, which is kind of creeping on screen. So we're gonna step back 1 month to the Philadelphia Flower Show. I included a video back then of the competition, which will be popping up here somewhere, where they do a competition and they have all these plants that people enter in the show. And all of them looked amazing, incredible, but one plant literally stopped me in my tracks, and I was like had to just like speechless. Like my roommate who went with me, who's my best friend, she was like, "What's wrong?" Because I was like, there was this huge Peperomia Tetragona. I think they also call it Peperomia padiolata. I think it's called parallel Peperomia. There's a lot of names for a lot of plants, but I'll show you it. I'm not going to show you this one yet. I have another one right here that I'm going to show you, because normally this is how big I can buy these plants. This is a pretty big Peperomia Tetragona for my knowledge. There was this one there that was huge. It was in like a 12-inch pot maybe. I'm going to include a photo on screen if I can figure out how to do that with my iMovie, but it was just huge. I could not believe it. And I was thinking the largest I can purchase these plants in my shop is a 3-inch pot, which is nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, how many of these little 3-inch pots am I gonna have to put together to make this? Because I need this one day in my life. So about a week ago, Me and my friend were just walking around Home Depot. I wasn't even there for the plants. I mean, like, I didn't go to buy the plants, but of course you have to look in the garden center. But this plant wasn't even in the garden center. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so turned about this right now. I hope you guys do not mind. I hope you love it. I hope you're loving how turned I'm getting about this plant right now. Anyway, we walk in the store to go find his vintage light bulbs, whatever he was looking for, and his door hinges. It doesn't matter. And there's a little, like, just little plant rack with a few hanging plants, like right when you walk in the Home Depot, and in it was this freaking giant Peperomia Tetragona, and I was like, oh my god, like, on a budget, like, we're on a plant budget by now, if you can't tell. Like, we're not going crazy spending money on plants right now. Like, we're on roughly $100 budget a month right now. So I was just like, you know, I know something when I see something. Like, you know, at this point I've been buying plants at the shop for only like 6 months, but you know, I'm starting to see, like, I know when I find something, when I see something, and this was one of those things. Can you just revel in this right now? Like, it's my baby now. Like, got prime windowsill space. As soon as I brought it home, I was like, you guys are moving away because this guy's coming home. And yeah, so that's the story of my beautiful Peperomia Tetragona that I am freaking in love with. And it's goals. It's plant goals. You know what I mean? I really, really love peperomias because they tell you when they need to be watered. I call it the taco test at work when I'm sharing this with people. So you take a leaf, a developed leaf. An underdeveloped leaf is still going to be pretty flimsy, but you find a nice developed leaf and you squeeze it as if you're trying to squeeze it like a taco shell. And if it doesn't budge, like this one is barely budging, I know it's good. It doesn't need any water, because if you overwater peperomias, they will rot. And so you do the taco test, and if it does fold in like a taco, it's time to water it. There are some peperomias that are a little bit more like flimsy to begin with, like the Peperomia caparata, like the ripple peperomia. That one's a little flimsy to begin with, so maybe this test isn't going to work for all of your peperomias, but for a good amount of them, it's going to work. So I highly recommend using the taco test. If you took anything from this video today, rather than my insanely long story about my Peperomia Tetragona, it's the taco test. The next plant is this gorgeous Hoya Puma Calyx that is ridiculously long, and I'm so happy with it. This is a really, really hard Hoya to come by. In fact, as a buyer, I will tell you guys that buying plants when, like, there's certain plants that just like aren't available to buy right now. And when I buy Hoyas, I think I mentioned this before, they're sold to me typically as Hoya assorted. And typically when I see Hoya assorted, it means Hoya carnosa, which is just like the very standard Hoya, which is beautiful, don't get me wrong, I love Hoya carnosa. But we want a little bit more variety these days, you know what I mean? So I was thrilled when I ordered some assorted Hoyas at the shop, and then there was one Hoya Puma Calyx. I'm so mean that I bought the only Hoya Puma Calyx, but like, I know you guys don't blame me. Like, if this came in and you saw this, you would scoop it right up. You would pick it off the truck if you had to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so gorgeous, and it's huge. It looks like it's root bound for the most part, so I'm really hoping maybe I'm gonna get some like peduncles and some blooms on this guy this summer. I've never had a Hoya bloom for me, and I already have a small Hoya Puma Calyx that a plant friend sent me last summer that I was rooting from cuttings that just started to grow for me, but you know, you can't pass this up, like I said. So yeah, really hoping this guy flowers for me, or at least grows a crap ton for me this summer, because it's freaking gorgeous. The last plant in today's haul is going to be this gorgeous Spathiphyllum domino. They also call it a variegated peace lily because it's a peace lily that is variegated. I love peace lilies. Peace lilies don't necessarily love me, so I don't know if I'm going to have a good relationship with this plant or not. But I have a very, very good relationship with my Spathiphyllum sensation, which is a much larger peace lily. It's not a common one that it's not uncommon, but it's not like one you'll typically see if you walk into a garden center. It's one with much larger leaves that are much more dull, and I love it. It looks very like prehistoric to me. And they're grown not necessarily for their blooms, but much more for their foliage. So that is the same thing about this plant, although it does have a bloom on it right now, as you can see. But I was saying, I don't have a very good relationship with peace lilies. The smaller ones that you typically see, they're typically sold in 4 or 6 inch pots, and they are like coming with so many flowers on them, like gorgeous amount of flowers on them. I have this theory that they're like pumped with hormones in the greenhouse to make them bloom, and I'm sorry, I'm like getting really bright this whole video, and it's just, the sun's right there, I'm sorry. But they get really pumped with the hormones, and then they're just like run out of energy as soon as they're done flowering, and then the leaves that come in are just like so small and wimpy looking, and then they get like a lot of brown edges. I could be making this up, but I feel like that's the case because it's just like as soon as you bring them home when they're done flowering, it's just like done. Like the plant's just like, and yeah, so I've never really had good luck with them. So that's why I tried this Bathyphyllum sensation, because it didn't have any blooms, and I feel pretty confident it's just like grown for the foliage. And same with this one, although like I said, there is a bloom on it. Yeah, now I have this gorgeous variegated peace lily to add to my collection, and I freaking love it. So I hope that it stays looking really nice, because it looks really, really nice right now, and I'd really like it to stay looking nice for quite a long time. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching my video today on my most recent plant acquisitions. I think they're all pretty interesting and pretty freaking cool, so I hope you guys enjoyed them and didn't mind me being a little bit more quieter, and I think I was a little bit more silly because, you know, medication and stuff. So like, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you aren't already, follow me on Instagram at phillyfoliage, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!